Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come and film a video. I don't know if it's a little shaky. I have my phone mount or whatever this thing is called on top of a box. So yeah. And just a FYI, sorry for the background. I am in a different spot of the house today. I cannot film while I'm in the room because my son always just tries to go in there, and I'm pretty much at his level when I'm filming, so it's kind of hard to film in there. Anyways, so today's video is a little different. I know I was gonna do a room tour video, but I kind of just haven't been able to have the time yet. And so yeah, I'm gonna film a video about my experience as a mother going through getting my son's tubes placed in his ears at a young age. He is only 2 years old. At the time that he had his tubes placed into his eardrums, he was only a year and 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, around there. He was almost gonna be 2. It was in May. His birthday's in August. So yeah, let's get started. So basically in the end of 2017, after his first, no, not 17, after 2018, after his first birthday, I started noticing, like, around his first birthday, he was talking. He was always trying to say words, trying to say names. He was very parrot-like. You would say something, he would try to say it or mimic it. He was very alert and, you know, as he should have been. Towards the end of 2018, I kind of started noticing, well, he started getting, let me backtrack. So my oldest is 6. At the time, she was in kindergarten, I believe, or no, she was in preschool. Now, if you have kids that are in school, you know, it's very easily, they're constantly getting sick at school, and so she was constantly getting ear infections, and so was he. And at the time, we didn't really pick up on how frequently he was getting ear infections, so it was kind of like, oh, it's another ear infection, because it was like every other month. And so a month would go by and we'd be like, oh, he's better, and then the next month it was back to the same old thing. So that had been going on from, I want to say, October all the way to January, and he was getting ear infections constantly. And now this is where I kind of like should have picked up on it a lot faster than I did, and like question, why isn't the antibiotics working for his ear infections? Why, you know, just question it a lot more instead of just quickly being like, okay, let's give him an antibiotic for this next ear infection. Come around January, February, that's when we kind of just really started noticing that he was not responding to his name. He was not really just being himself. He was more quiet. He wasn't saying words anymore, which was weird for us because he was always trying to copy older sister, and you know, he wasn't saying any of that. So it was a lot, and so sorry for the noise. It was a lot of little things that I started to notice that he was not doing anymore, and so I started questioning whether or not, you know, when you're a mom, you kind of start questioning things, and you start wondering, well, if he's not noticing his name, he's not hearing me when I'm calling him, and giving him direction, but he's not following it. And then at the same time, you have to question yourself. He's only one, and like some months, and you know, not all the time kids are, and especially boys. And that's something I've learned, because when having a girl first is a lot different than a boy. Girls are always and will be smarter than boys. They just pick up a lot quicker than boys, and so I wasn't really used to it, and I was getting into the groove of things. It was only a year in that I was a new mom, a new mom again, and because my kids are 5 years apart, so everything was freshly new again, and not on top of that, but it was a boy, so it was a whole different dynamic for me. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe it's just him, maybe it's just something, but something I kept, as later on in the month of February kept going on, I started really like questioning it, and I really didn't, I don't know, I just really didn't, it didn't feel right to me. So I made a doctor's appointment, and just because and not to say that this is what really pushed me into that direction of making a doctor's appointment, was I have a younger cousin that is autistic, so I kind of would confide in my aunt and talk to her, and she's like, if you feel this way, then make an appointment, and the only thing you can do is really just go to the doctors and let them know what's going on and see and go from there. So that's what I did. I didn't want to put it out there as if I felt like he was autistic, because I didn't really feel that way, but I didn't really want to not think that that's not the issue here, because there was a lot of little things that he was doing that could have been signs and early signs. So yeah, so we get to a doctor's appointment, and basically she was very kind of putting that option on the back burner, because she doesn't like to jump into that conclusion very fast or easily without going through the steps of what if it's this or what if it's that first before you jump into those conclusions. So I thought that was pretty good. So she checked his ears first, because obviously if he's not responding, he's not speaking, it could have a lot to do with his hearing. So she checked his ears, no ear infection, and at this point he was already like almost 2 months without an ear infection. So I was like, okay, well, maybe things are better. So then she's like, let's check his eardrums. So what that means, they got a fluid reader to see how much, if there's fluid, and if there is fluid, how much fluid is in there. So basically she was able to go and get that test done the same day. We were in the office the same, and yeah, there was a lot of fluid in his eardrums, so much that she was like, you can tell, like, there's like just so much fluid. So I guess what was happening since the beginning of him having ear infections was, constantly having ear infections, you get fluid, and the fluid was not releasing. So it was just staying there. So it was about, I want to say, 8 months that he was not able to hear properly. If that at all, he was probably not able to hear. So that to me was a relief, because I was like, okay, well, there's a solution to this problem. So she sent in a referral for our insurance to accept it, and for us to go see a ear doctor, and that is able to do, and she did say there's a possibility they want to put tubes in his ears to drain out that fluid, and that's the only way. But the reason why we had to go on for so long until we had, you know what, I'm missing a part. I don't think we went in February. I think we went in December. And we had to wait 3 full months. She had to document his ears 3 full months because he had just gotten over an ear infection. And she wanted to see if it would just drain on its own, or they needed to go in and get it drained with the tubes. So with that being said, I completely forgot that that was a thing.
Is this hard?
Yeah.
This.
So that was a thing. And so then in February, we had an appointment, the end of February, and she was like, okay, it's been consistent. There's no water. There's still water in his eardrums. We're going to have to send you to an ear doctor. So we get to the ear doctor. About 2 weeks later, we were able to make an appointment. And then the ear doctor right away was like, there's so much fluid, we have to put tubes in his ears. So with that being said, within, I think, the end of the week, actually, because we had an appointment on Monday. Sorry for the shakiness. We went on a Monday to the appointment, and he was scheduled for the following Friday in the morning. So, yeah, he was able to place the tubes in, and let me tell you, it's very scary having like your kid be put on anesthesia for even a minute or two. Is super scary, just because it is something that could go very badly, even though it was so short. So yeah, that experience was something new for me. Now, about a year in, his appointment was in May. Or what was the surgery? It was like March, I want to say. I cannot remember. It's March or May. It was a while that we weren't able to really get an appointment. So I don't think it was like 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 months. It took a while. But anyways, he right away that day, same day, he was able to go home. And let me tell you, it's very scary for a mom to even though it's such a minor surgery and it's such a minor procedure, and you know, they're not under anesthesia for that long, the paperwork that you have to fill out is what's pretty much scary, because you're signing something saying a what if, and that to a mother is super scary. And I had anxiety leading up to that moment because you know, you don't know how their body's gonna react, and they're so tiny, and he was not even 2, and you know, it's just a really alarming surgery. And after it was over, I kind of felt silly, but you know, at the same time, I know that you know, every mother is gonna worry, every parent is gonna worry for their child, you know, no matter what type of thing it is. So very normal to feel that way. Had to learn that the hard way, because I was just like, I don't know, it was just something different. My daughter never really had to go through that. So yeah, this was super new. So now, speed up a few months after the surgery, we do every 4 months we do go in for a checkup. So now it's been almost a year. It's gonna be a year this year that he's had the tubes in his eardrums. If you guys have any questions, please leave the comments down below. I will answer them. Just any questions about the ear tubes or whatever, and like kind of everything like that. So now we're in the process of speech therapy because of how how long he was without hearing properly, it affected his speech. He does not talk properly. He mumbles his words. There are some words that he will say clearly, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I know exactly what you're saying." But there are words that you question, and you know, sometimes he'll say sentences, and you'll be like, "Oh, shoot!" Like you literally just said a sentence, and I would be shocked. So yeah, speech therapy now. We've been in that for about a little bit over 17 weeks now. It's been a while he's been in speech. I do see improvement in his speech. He does say a lot of new words now after his speech therapy was starting. And yeah, so I mean, it's been a process. It's been a whole year. His tubes have not yet fallen out. That's another thing. They do fall out on their own. Sometimes they have to be surgically removed again, which I'm hoping they fall out soon. Not too sure when that's gonna happen. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit how my year has been going. It's been very hectic, and it's been a lot of appointments, a lot of hearing appointments. He does do hearing testing every 5 months to 4 months. He just recently had one in November, and he kind of passed it. It's kind of hard to tell right now just because he is a baby and he isn't able to tell you, like, you know, when you take those hearing tests at school and you raise your hand when you hear the beep. He is only 2 years old, so he isn't really able to, you know, do that. So that is kind of why we've been taking tests every 4 months, just to, the older he gets, the easier it gets, trying to see if he could hear out of his ears now. And that was another thing the doctor had told me, there could be damage in his eardrums since he had fluid in his ears for so long, so that could be a possibility. Yeah, so right now we're just taking a day at a time. Speech, he does it twice a week. We did start out once a week, and then they changed it to 2 times a week. So now we're in that process of speech, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Give this video a like if you thought it was helpful. Yeah. This is kind of a different video. It's just more of a story time and kind of like what I've been going through as a mom this past year with my son, and just kind of letting you guys in like what I'm pretty much doing as a mom. And trying to help my son be able to speak properly again, and get him ready for school pretty much. And so yeah, give this thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I do have a lot of different types of videos, and eventually trying to make this into a vlogging channel once I get more comfortable into doing it. And yeah, give this a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.